Hi, my name is Kajsa. I'm a passionate voice actor dedicated to spreading knowledge about the dubbing industry around the world. To master this art form, you need to study hard and constantly strive to improve yourself. In today's episode, Niels Poensgen, a touring artist from Germany, will discuss what it's like to work with music and sound, and how to master this art form. You're listening to episode 4, season 2 of Voices and Visions Behind the Scenes. Hello, Niels, and welcome to Voices and Visions Behind the Scenes.
Hello, nice to be here.
Nice to have you here. Could you please introduce yourself for the listeners?
Yeah, sure thing. My name is Niels. I'm a touring artist and recording artist. So I make music and I live in Berlin. And yeah, I've been in the sort of Berlin music scene sort of for the last 10 odd years. And yeah, I've been working here for a while now.
Nice. And what inspired you to become an electronic musician? And how did you get started into the music industry?
So I always was doing electronic music, like ever since I was in high school, really. And I was always making electronic music, always really into experimental music. And then it was fairly logical for me to go to Berlin because that's the place where you do this kind of stuff in Germany. And once I moved here, it was very quickly for me that I started playing a lot of electronic music live with different friends, formed labels, became parts of other labels. Became resident sort of electronic musician at this one venue for a while. That one then went bankrupt. Then I was resident at another venue for about 2 weeks before that venue also became bankrupt. So I stopped doing that. And yeah, I just kind of like the way I got into the music industry was mainly I just like to make music, and I had a bunch of friends who also like doing it, and we like formed labels and put up our own nights, and it all went from there, really.
You had a bit unlucky there when they went bankrupt.
Yeah, I did. But it's okay. Yeah, these like small venues, I'm sure it's the same thing everywhere. They do kind of. There's a time when they live, and there's a time when they usually die, and it's kind of, and then something else opens up that's just as cool, right? So that's, I think, the sad truth about small venues, that they are always the first ones to go.
Yeah, and the music industry itself is a bit risky to pursue, I would say.
Is it risky, the music industry? Yeah, it is. On the other hand, in a city like Berlin, there's always tens of thousands of tourists who are coming into the clubs every weekend, and they want to have a good time and they want to see electronic music. So there's a big market for it. So that makes it a little bit easier, perhaps, than other types of creative professions.
And did you study at any specific universities to become an electronic musician?
I studied computer science as a bachelor degree, just also because I wanted to program my own synthesizers, and I'm really into algorithmic music and sort of building my own sort of software that makes sound. And then in my master's studies, I went and studied sonic arts at the Berlin University of the Arts. It's a bit like people who are doing art installations with speakers. This kind of stuff. It's somehow between sort of experimental, super modern composition and arts and sort of media studies. It's all sort of in there. Basically, anything that has to do with sound, we can do there. And I sort of focused on building installations there with speakers or with like sounding installations, and also I did a lot of programming there, like music programming or coding, like music effects, like my own reverbs and things like that. Very nerdy.
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, I did some I did some stuff at university for that as well. Yeah,
Oh, that's cool. And how big would you say the music industry is in Germany?
it is pretty big. I mean, it's not. I, I don't. I think we do have. Yeah, we have a pretty big industry. We have a lot of Germany. Definitely from all of the German-speaking European countries, it has the biggest one, and there is a lot of international outreach there. So a lot of people from Berlin will play in other cities like London or LA, or people from London or LA will come to Germany. So there's a lot of like it feels very very international. It feels very big. Um, we do have issues where, of course, arts funding is never what you want it to be, and we're experiencing right now a lot of cuts in the arts funding, which is really making it tough for the music industry and the music scene here in Germany. But yeah, it's pretty. For now, it's doing all right.
And as someone who is interested in dubbing, I wonder, did you watch a lot German dub when you were young, or did you go over to the original content most of the time, like English?
Yeah. So growing up in Germany, yeah, everything was dubbed. Everything, and terribly so. Like German, like everything on TV, everything in the cinema. I don't know how it is in Sweden, but in Germany it was everything was dubbed, and we had the same five voices for everyone, and it was hilarious. I think now it's kind of changing, where dubbing is kind of where people do watch the movies in the original version with subtitles a little more. Um, but yeah, I mean, voice acting is still big though. I mean, there's German TV series as well and stuff like that. So yeah, we do have that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, in my
Is
opinion.
this something that you're interested in? Are you interested in going into dubbing?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. That's a good job. That's a really really cool industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I gotta learn German now,
Yeah. Every
probably.
time
So,
oh really?
no, yes, but
Yeah.
I know it's very big in Germany, the dubbing industry.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I have a couple of friends who are working in movie sound and in dubbing. And Berlin, we have. I'm sorry, I really like the city, so I'm gonna talk a lot about Berlin. But we have some really good film universities here, like the Babelsberg University is a pretty good one, where they have a fantastic course for movie audio or film audio. So yeah, the dubbing industry here is, I mean, yeah, we have a big industry here because Babelsberg is here, and that is one of the main places in Germany and in German-speaking Europe where films are being made. So yeah, we have that.
How do you think that the dubbing like affects the language, like English learning in Germany, if you only listen to dubbed content?
I think it affects it quite a bit. I sort of I thought it's a complicated story for me because I sort of grew up bilingual also with English, but I think generally, yeah, people are not as exposed to English as other countries. I don't know. Are things in Sweden dubbed?
Sweden, we don't dub that a lot. We dub often shows up to 13, and that's it.
Okay,
So more English.
that makes sense. I always get the feeling that Swedish people's English is better than
Oh yeah,
German people's English, and I think that might be a really good reason why.
yeah.
Television. Yeah, sure.
And so, what was one of your first big projects as an electronic musician, and how did it shape your career?
What was one of my first big projects? I mean, I released a couple of releases, but the first sort of really big thing, I think, In 2016, 2015, 2016, around that time, we started playing at Copenhagen at Distortion Festival at one of the big stages there. So every year we play a really big stage there, and that was always a really big thing because I do play everything live, so I'm not really a DJ. I don't play other people's music. So every year I'd have to make a whole new hour and a half of music that I wanted to present. And that kind of shaped my career in the sense that that people started to really notice this. Also that this is all new stuff. Yeah, and that was a really interesting process that also took way too much work. But yeah, and then recently I played with so a friend of mine and I always work together with one creative partner. So also for the past 10 years, always with the same person, and we did a really nice project with the Philharmonic Orchestra in Dortmund, and that was a really nice step to also step in out of the club world into the classical world, and hoping to then do more of this kind of stuff as well.
And do you only make this music, or do you also sing anything when you perform?
No, I don't really sing. I'm behind Ableton and I make music, or I try not to. I don't even really play an instrument these days. I just click and I write my own programs, so I write my own software, so that's kind of cool. But other than that, I don't really sing.
And so, what software and equipment do you use most frequently when you're making your music?
So Ableton is kind of like my daily driver as a DAW. I do like Ableton. For stuff, recently been doing a little bit of music for like movies, or like short films. And then I try and use Logic, even though I'm struggling with it. It's just because ever since I'm a teenager, I've been using Ableton, so that's kind of ingrained in my head, that way of working. There's a programming language called Maximus P that I really like. That is a bit of an older it's older. It's been existing since 1989 or something. It's very, very historic. And like the first version of Ableton, for example, was built in this programming language. So this is something that I'm really into. And I'm constantly sort of trying out different newer or different like audio or music programming languages. Super Collider, for example, these kind of things, and a lot of hardware. I use a lot of like modular synthesizers, any type of synthesizers, drum machines, all the electron gear. It's really important to my workflow. So over the years, I've kind of amassed a whole bunch of gear that I'm just using. And luckily, like for years, it was all in my living room or all in my sort of in my shared flat bedroom or something. And I mean, I was always sort of halfway living in a sound studio. And now I luckily finally have a studio with this friend, and it's kind of nice to have like my living space for myself and not have the gear everywhere. Still a little bit at home, but it's not that much anymore.
And are there any tools you consider essential for the work you do?
My laptop. Honestly, just give me a laptop and a good pair of headphones. I love I have these really nice Odyssey headphones. They're really good. Or like, give me headphones or a pair of good speakers and a laptop, and I'll be fine. I can work with this. I generally feel like my job as a musician is to be able to make music with whatever tool you give me. So I have to yeah, I'm generally mostly happy with a laptop.
And what's the most challenging part of working in the music industry as an electronic musician?
I feel it's probably it's difficult to say. I feel like it's a mental game more than anything else. You kind of have to you have to know that there's going to be like good years and bad years. Like there's going to be years or times when you're going to be booked a lot and you're going to be playing like 3-4 times a month, and you're going to earn a little bit more cash, and that's fine. And then there's going to be years where it's not that way, and you just cannot really attach your sense of self-worth to that, because that's, you have no control over that really, and it's going to oscillate, it's going to go up and down. So like just don't even think about that, and just focus on the process and making the stuff as good as possible, and just enjoy that, and everything on top of that is kind of extra and it's kind of nice. Yeah, just working with audio is really, oh wait, the challenging part. No, yeah, that's the most challenging part. Working with audio is really nice.
And I've talked with many voice actors in this show already, and we discussed a little bit AI technology, how it will perhaps change the voice acting industry. But has the rise of home studios and AI technology changed the way you work or how you work in the music industry?
Well, home studios definitely, because I've been just buying like my own little home studio, and I used to be in a bigger studio, but now I really like the smaller, or like I really think home studio technology has gotten to the point where without big budgets you can do so much. AI, yeah, there's a couple of AI tools that I've started using. I don't think it'll replace me as a musician yet. Or generally anything that I've heard or that I've tried is really like the quality isn't there, and I it's not like, if you're trying to make something special, then it's really hard to train an AI to do that. Like the creativity that you have with like 2, 3, or more humans in a room working together on something. That's something that's very, very tough to build with AI, I think. On the other hand, I also think there's a big chance here where maybe coming up with these certain types of drum parts was a really boring process before, and now AI can take over that, and then just have much more like space in your head to do more interesting stuff. So it might be even freeing you up. Like I don't really see it as a danger. I'm more excited about it than anything else at the moment, where I'm just hoping that it can empower artists, and hopefully we'll get some really good different futuristic songs out of this.
That's true.
Or sounds out of this.
Because some voice actors are afraid that AI technology will replace, their voices.
Yeah.
Which has happened a little bit in trailers, I have noticed.
Yeah.
It's a bit sad, to be honest, but hopefully it won't replace totally.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be like, I can see why certain voice actors would be scared of that, but I'm also wondering, like, a lot of their work is in nuances, right? It's like, it's such a nuanced thing to say the sentence and like just make it a little bit of a question or something. Like and I'm wondering if there's a quality that they can still bring to the table there, or if voice actors then are going to be asked to sort of read out like, I don't know, or like read out an essay, and then an AI is trained on that voice, and then everything gets generated from that. I have no idea. I can see how for them that might be very scary.
And where do you see the future of touring artists heading?
I'm hoping to have a more live experience. So like I hope that the days of musicians standing in front of a computer and you don't really see what they're doing is kind of over, or like DJing or something. And I hope like the way that I have it set up right now is where like whenever I play live now, I have all my gear with me and I'll be standing not away from the people, but I'll set up a table in the middle of the club and people around me will just dance and see what I'm doing is actually live. And so I'm really hoping like we as humans we have this advantage that we are real and we have bodies and we are present, and I hope that we can bring that back, and maybe the computer can take over all the stuff where bodies are not required, but like for life experience it would be cool to actually like be there with people. So
Yeah. And what's your approach to maintain a good workflow balance in any industry known for long hours? This industry is known for long hours, you know.
I mean, music is kind of it's a little bit different because it's really fun. So it's like the life is in the work in some sense. When I'm doing projects that are a bit more like for example when I'm doing music for film or something like that, it's like project work where you're gonna have to tell people around you that like sometimes there's going to be a deadline and you won't see me for a couple of weeks, and I'm sorry about that, but sometimes that. So I'm not really good at this, honestly. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just stuck in a room and make sounds forever, and then there's no real yeah, then people don't see me for a while, and then I come out of it, and and I try to make up for it. But with a family, it would be very, very difficult, for sure.
And do you have any tips for creating a great mix or achieving a polished master?
My ears are pretty bad for mastering, which is why my friend who I make music with, he's always the one who's like talking to the mastering engineers, and I'm always there like, oh yeah, that sounds right. But resonances are like, I find the most difficult thing. It's like sometimes you got sounds that just resonate, where there's like this one frequency about like 1,230 hertz. There might be just this resonant peak that you just have to pull down, and you really have to kind of like listen to it on different systems, on really good systems, in order to kind of hear that issue with it. So that's kind of the main thing. Otherwise, the best tip is just having a really good sound system. Sadly, like nothing replaces good monitors and a good room. And for the longest time, I kind of ignored that and worked with second-rate monitors, and that's really everything.
And do you have any favorite piece of gear or plugins that you can't live without?
For me, it would be Maximus P, the programming language that I use. But other than that, if I'm thinking about mixing, Soothe, SOOTHE, that's just a great one for getting resonances out, and it just clears up the mix so nicely. Love it.
And if you could work with any artist, past or present, who would it be and why?
Oh God. Oh, that's who would I want to work with? There's a guy called Mark Fell, who I've been into a lot recently, who did stuff like very, very algorithmic music. Very cool, very rhythmic stuff, also using the same programming language that I'm using. Who else would I want to work with? So many. There is someone, that might be a good answer. Carl Stone. I recently went to a concert of him. He's like in his 70s. He's like this guy who's been at the forefront of sampling. So he's kind of whilst sort of the hip hop revolution was going on in New York, and people were using Akai samplers, he was like doing really weird type of experimental sampling. And he's still putting out music, and he's just great and a big hero of mine. Yeah, Carl Stone, Carl, and then Stone like sticks and stones. Really, really cool music.
Oh, I don't recognize any of the artists you mentioned, but
yeah, it's super. Yeah. This is super niche. It is like no one, like even in my niche, like no one really knows these people. So yeah.
And to wrap up everything, what advice would you give to someone aspiring to become a touring artist or electronic musician?
Just enjoy the process. I'd have two advice. I've one is like the main thing is kind of like loving to make the music, and if you enjoy that, then things will follow. And really, try to make stuff as good as possible, and maybe not focus on the career thing too much, especially in like formative years. Like that sounds stupid. That also sounds like I'm really old, and I'm not. But like just trying to kind of like perfect your craft first. And the other thing is that I think, and that's true with probably every art form, is find friends that do the same thing that you do, and then do them together. First of all, it's much more fun, and secondly, it's also the best way to start, because you're gonna put on a show together somewhere, and then your friends and their friends are gonna come, so there's already gonna be a bit of a crowd, and it's just much easier to do this stuff not alone. I'm sure the same thing goes for sound engineering, and the same thing goes for the dubbing industry, or if you're becoming like a dubbing engineer. It's just much more fun to maybe find some people who are interested in making films, and find some other people who are interested in acting in films and directing, and then like make a movie together where you're doing all the sound, right? Like that's just so much more fun than just sitting at home in front of a laptop and kind of practicing on like files that you download from the internet. Yeah, sorry. I think that's it. Just do stuff with friends.
Yes. And thank you, Niels, for participating. It was so fun to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. Great questions, and we made it on the dot.